Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Nasir Solved. This is the second video of the tutorial series Simple Laravel project, and in this video we will work on HTML forms. After include HTML form in our project, then we will learn about the form validations. So let's start. In the previous video, we just create a new Laravel project, and in this video we will continue from that. So this is our basic Laravel project, and if I go to the routes, that the by default route is of welcome message. So first step is you need to create a new view inside the views folder, and then the name is insert view. So this is an empty view, so therefore I call by default that view from this route. Okay, if I refresh the link, then you will see that instead of welcome message, now empty view is showing to me. Now we are moving towards to include the HTML form code in our newly created view, that is include view. So I include all this code, and you can find this code in the following mentioned link in video description. Okay, so if I read this code, you will see that there is a form tag inside the form. As you know that there is a method, there is an action, and inside the action we call this routes. It means that inside the web.php we create a new route, that is post route. Okay, and its URL is my form. It use this controller, that function, and we can access it as this one, my form dot store. So we create a new route, that is post route. So after submit the data will be posted on that controller, that this function. Okay, so if I refresh the link here, you will see that there is four field in this form, that is first is name, email, phone, and message. So after submit the button, the data will post to that route, that is the controller function. Further, you need to understand about the MVC architecture, as Laravel is based on the MVC based architecture. So therefore we first understand that how it works. Okay, so if we talk about the MVC architecture, we have the main controller, and inside our controller we can write our business logics. So our programming flow will start from the controller, and whatever we want from the database operation. For example, if we want to insert the data into database or to retrieve some data from the database, then for any database operations, if I can say that, we can call the models from the controller, and the models return us a record that we want to show to the user. And whenever we want to show to data to the user or for some HTML form or something like, then we need to call the views from the controller. So that's the flow of the MVC architecture. Okay, so this is our the basic form, okay, which we created, and this is the view. So by default we call the view, and when I submit, I click on the submit button, then we call the controller, and the controller some method, and inside the method we write some business logic. For example, to cache all the data to a PHP variables, we call the model for database operation, that is to insert the form data into our database. Okay, then at the last we call this view again by showing a message that data inserted successfully. Okay, so let's start. So now we are going to add the controller. Okay, so whenever the form is posted, then the flow goes to our controller, some method as we define it in our routes, and through that controller some function we write our main logic here, and before that we need to add the form validation. So the first step is for the to create a controller. So here I already defined a dummy controller name and its method. So now it's time to create a controller and some method of the controller. So this is the documentation of the controller. This the link is also mentioned in the video description. Okay, so here I copy all these line of code to create a controller. Okay, and name the controller as a meaningful name. I copy all this code and go to our project, and inside the app, okay, inside the http folder, you can find here the controllers folder, and inside the controller I will create a new PHP file, that is the controller file, and name it something like meaningful. Okay, so you can name it as I name it my controller. Okay, my form controller. This looks like something great. .php. Okay, so inside this one I paste all this code. Okay, and as this is the class. Okay, and to name my class, that is my controller form, my form controller. Okay, so I change the name of the class to my own specific controller, that is my form controller. Okay, and I delete this function as well. Save the file. Okay, and the PHP tags is missing, so first I write the PHP tags here. So further we write a specific method as we define into our routes, that which controller some method will call when form is posted to collect the form data. So therefore I will write here, first I change the controller name as my form controller, and the method some I will create a method. Okay, you can name it, for example I name it this one, insert form function. Okay, so now I will create the insert form function method inside the my form controller. Okay, so method is public function, and the function name, that this one, and no parameters is required. Okay, so inside this function we will write the main logic. As I defined this function into my routes, when form data is posted, then use this controller, this function, and inside the view, inside the form action, I write the route, that is my form dot store. Okay, so whenever the form is posted, then our programming flows will come to that function, and through that function we catch all these variables, okay, data, that is name, email, phone, message, and for further action. Okay, so before going further we need to add the form validation. Okay, we can write our own rules and messages when user enter wrong values inside the, for example, name, email, incorrect email, and so on. So let's move towards the form validation. For the form validation, Laravel gives us the request. Okay, so through create a request we can write our own rules and validations message inside the request. So create a new folder inside the http and name it, that is a new directory. Okay, and name it request. Inside the request, here we write a new class, okay, a PHP file, that is our request. I will show you how we can create and how it works. Okay, so name it some meaningful, like I named it my insert form request.php, and through that class that is newly created inside the PHP tag, okay, paste the following code. Okay, so in the video description you can find this code as well through that link or something like. Okay, so first step is to name a meaningful name of that extend the request, as you see that. So therefore a new class should be added inside the request. Okay, so first, that is name, that is email, that is phone, and that is message. The code you can find the code in the video description. Okay, okay, as we can access the all the form field through that name. Okay, inside our request we can write the rules. For example, I create a first rule for the name. That name should be required as it is mandatory, so I mention the name as mandatory. So in Laravel, through required we can access, and I add a new rule here that minimum length of the name should be 3, minimum at least 3. Okay, so if user enter 2 length of name, then it shows as the error. And through the next function, that is public function message, here we can write the message. Okay, when error comes, then what message showing will showing to the user. Okay, for example, if name dot minimum error comes, then shows this error message to the user. Okay, that name should be at least 3 digits. So, and inside our main HTTP, okay, this is the link where you can find the more description about the request, or to how to access the request from the controller functions. Okay, so this link is also mentioned in video description. So first you need to include the request inside your main controller, that is inside the HTTP request folder, and then the request name, that is this one. Okay, and through that request I create a new object into our main method, controller method. Okay, that is inside form function. Inside this one I call that request, and I made a request object of that class. Okay, so through that object I catch all the form fields. So first step, I write a new PHP variable, that is input. Okay, and inside the input I catch all the requests, through request all the form fields to all function. Okay, so for the debugging purpose here I print all the input array. You will see that it will show all the form fields values which user entered. Okay, and inside the print r I paste the input array. Okay, as there is two actions, so therefore first delete this action, and the second route action is in the right place. And inside the request delete this authorized function, as we not want to authenticate the user, as in this project this is no login, so therefore I delete this one. Okay, this is for the authentication purpose. So inside the HTTP request folder we need to add the request class as well. Okay, so you can find the request class code in the video description, as it includes the request. So therefore we add inside the HTTP request a new file, that is a PHP file, and name it request. So basically the parent, we add the parent request class here. Okay, and inside this one just paste this line of code. This line of code is mentioned in video description as well. Okay, save the file. So the error comes that app HTTP request is now not found. Okay, I think this is the spelling mistake. So check the name. Okay, the parent class is request, and here I named the requests. Okay, this is not request, this is the request. So rename that class with the request. Okay, so hope rename it, then after saving, save the project, it will works. You will see that now code is running successfully. And inside the name, if I add something meaningful, that is Nasir, inside the email this one, inside the phone this one, message this one, if I click on the submit button, then you will see that it shows me all the form data. Okay, as programming flows goes to our controllers method, and inside the method we print all the input array, so therefore it shows us all the field with the data. Okay, if I enter something two digit name, then it will not allow me for further action, as inside our request we add the minimum length too. So what about why error is not showing to the user? It not submit the form, but error should be showing to the user. Okay, so that is why we add some div inside our insert view, that is form view. Okay, and inside the view we should add something, some div to show the error message. Okay, so just copy after the class form controller here, add, I will add something, some lines here to show the error message for the user. Okay, so same action I will do with all the form fields. Okay, and after that you add a new div for showing the error. Okay, error message. Okay, so did all these from the below mentioned field as well. This code you can find in the video description, so don't worry, just follow my steps. Okay, now if I add two digit name, then you will see that after submission the form, okay, this is the rule, as minimum should be 3. So therefore now after submission the form, you will see that it shows me the error, as the name should be at least 3 digits. As this error message comes, so first I write the rules for the name as well. Name is also the email is also mandatory. So therefore email email is also required. Okay, and there is no minimum length for email. I will not define this one. Okay, and this should be then email. So, okay, if user want some enter some invalid email, that it shows the error. Okay, it block the form and shows the error whatever you want here. For example, if user enter wrong email, then I will show it. Okay, this is for the email mandatory. If email field is not filled, then shows this error to the user. So through that rules and messages, we can write our own rules and error messages. Okay, we can define the error messages and our own rules here. So hope you will understand how form validation works in Laravel. Okay, so whatever I did for email field here, also we need to add the, okay, so first step is for the phone is not mandatory, so therefore I make it nullable, and there is no minimum length here. Okay, same for the message, I paste this one, and the message name is message. Okay, so I paste it for the message as well, as message is not mandatory, and the same to showing the error rectangular and the error message, I paste all this code inside our view. So don't worry, you can find this one in the video description as well. Okay, and to showing the message, copy this div for all that and change the name for each specific field. Okay, that this is email, this is phone, and this is message. Okay, at the same step we will do for the rest of fields to showing the error message inside the div. You can find all this code in the video description. Okay, so don't worry, just follow my step, and if you have any questions regarding to this one, you can email me. Okay, email is mentioned in video description, or you can comment in inside the video comment section. I will reply it. Okay, so again, if I save the file and inside the email I enter some valid email, inside the sorry name inside the email I make it as empty. Okay, if I click on submit button, then it shows me the error message with the email is required. So hope you will understand then how our own request works. Okay, so that's all for this video. In the next video We will start from here to insert the data for calling the models from the Laravel controller, and how we can write the Laravel model and how we can insert the data by calling the Laravel models. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe my channel for more informative videos. Be connected to this tutorial series to learn the basic Laravel project. Stay blessed. Have a good day.